Hey guys, so today I'm here with a comparison between the HP TouchPad and the Apple iPad. Now these two tablets are going to be some of the biggest things that are going to be out all year long. So I want to go ahead and take this opportunity to explain a little bit about the differences between them to help you to make a good decision about which one's going to be best for you. Now before we begin, there's one thing I do want to mention. I'm going to be comparing this to the current iPad, which is out today. Now the iPad will be replaced with a second generation iPad probably in the next couple of months and certainly before the touchpad is released. So this comparison might be very different in the next 3-4 months. However, I'm going to be doing it just on the information we have today, as if you're going to go ahead and go to the store and buy them both today. So just please do keep that in mind. Anyway, let me go ahead and just start with the newest of them, which is going to be the touchpad. Now the touchpad has a lot in common with the iPad. They both have a 9.7-inch display with a resolution of 1024 by 768. And indeed, they also have the very similar shape and size. In fact, you could almost go ahead and stack an iPad, stack a touchpad together, and they're going to be very similar. They're almost the exact same thickness, the same width, the same height. So they're going to be very similar as far as the case goes. Now that's not a bad thing at all. I like the size of the iPad, and I'm liking that the touchpad is going to be very similar to that. Where they really start to differ is in the processor. In the touchpad, you will find a dual-core 1.2 GHz Snapdragon processor. If you're not really technically inclined, what that's going to mean is it's going to be very fast. It's going to be good at multitasking, running multiple apps at the same time, which is what webOS is really good for, but also just playing games, checking email, all that kind of stuff is going to be really quite fast on this tablet. Now, in comparison, the current Apple iPad only has a single-core 1 GHz Apple A4 chip. Not by any means bad, but certainly not going to be in the same realm as far as the speed goes. Moving on, you'll find that the touchpad has another advantage over the iPad, which is going to be a front-facing camera. Now, while the usefulness of this is somewhat in question, video chat really isn't in the mainstream just yet, it's definitely very nice that you will actually be able to use it on the touchpad, and obviously there's no way to do that on the iPad, which does entirely lack any cameras of any sort. The biggest difference between the tablets, however, is the operating system. Now, on the iPad, it runs iOS, which is a very, very similar operating system to what you might find if you own an iPhone or an iPod Touch. So all the same apps will run. You will be able to use the very similar UI and everything, and it works really quite well. However, the touchpad is a very, very different animal. It has a lot more features, and it's really made a lot more for the tablet form factor, in my opinion. So what you'll be able to do is much better multitasking. If you've ever seen a webOS device, for example, a Palm Pre or a Palm Pixie, you'll know kind of about how it's going to be. It has a really nice deck of cards interface, which allows you to go ahead and scroll through your various different apps that are open, select what you want, and just go on with your day. One of the most important aspects, price, is still a question mark right now. Now, while we do know that the iPad will run you anywhere from $500 to $829, the touchpad is going to probably be somewhere in that range, but we don't have the specifics. I would imagine somewhere in the $500 to $600 price range is going to be where we're going to find it. However, of course, like I said, this is still a question mark, and that's going to be a big factor. So, as the release date gets closer, it will be out this summer. We will probably get more information about that. Anyway, guys, that's about it for this video. Both tablets do have a lot of strengths and weaknesses. The iPad has a huge amount of apps, really nice operating system and everything. However, the touchpad has an even better operating system, in my opinion, as well as better hardware. So, if it's a comparison just between the iPad and the touchpad, I'm going to go ahead and go with the touchpad. However, this story could entirely change in the next couple of months when the iPad 2 is available. So definitely stay tuned for a redo of this comparison.